Whoa, that's not too bad. All right. All right. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome Wednesday on a Tuesday. We're drinking rum. We don't know what day it is.
It's okay. It's okay.
Hey, everybody, for tuning in there. Thanks for joining us here. We're going to do a little recap here. So,
Okay, so a little bit of technical difficulties, as there always are sometimes. I'm Nia with myrumdiaries. I'm going to recap the Miami Rum Congress with Paul from Drums and Rums. If you're not familiar with him, he has an incredible podcast on YouTube. And Paul, tell us the other stuff that you have going on during the week. Welcome back, by the way. Cheers.
yes, cheers. Hold on. Cheers. Boop. Yeah, so Nia, thanks for asking me to join you, doing a recap here. Again, we're part of the if you're watching this and you don't know, we are part of Nia and I are part of the Rum Posse, and that includes a couple of the YouTubers and rum enthusiasts as well. We did have a few folks there. Oh, we got a little comment there. So, you want to read that, or you want me to read that?
You can read it if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem there. So, all right. So our comment says there. So rough spirits. Hey, what's going on? What's up? I'm jealous. I couldn't make it to Miami Run Congress. I watched through the lens of Instagram. Well, thank you there. So I guess
Thank you, Rough Spirits.
yeah. So yeah, Nia did a great job covering the event there. We got to get to talk to in this. Yeah. So I don't know. Oh wait, you asked me a question. That's right. So yeah, what I got going on this week? I just premiered an episode here. We just dropped on the podcast there with a hard rock heavy metal drummer, Mike McCann from the band Closure. They're from Southern Alabama, and so it was a great. We just did a live stream with them. We hung out in the chat. They answered some questions. So great. Again, we're all trying to grow our YouTube presence and channel, and we get try to different things. Kind of like this. This is something new for me. I haven't done this live stream duo thing
I
before,
know,
which is
neither
kind
have I, hence the technical difficulties.
of but yeah, but everybody's hanging in. It's on Tuesday. We're drinking rum. What's great about
Yeah.
that, right? So yeah, so we got a little bit of that going on. I tape an episode. I got a one for you. Okay, this is exclusive for the okay, for those that are watching. Again, I don't know sometimes how I find some of these guests that I have on, and I will get me because I'm talking too much already. I love to talk, but I got a guy that's coming on who was just on an episode of the Moonshiner Show Distillers. He had an episode that just
Wow.
came on last month there. So anyway, so that's a little sneak peek that I'll be talking to him tomorrow night for an episode that'll drop next week. So stay tuned for that. Again, I don't know. That's something, I don't know. I'm way too tired. Can you see my eyes? I look way too tired to be doing all this stuff. But anyway, enough about me. Back to you, Nia.
I feel you. I feel you. Definitely feel better today. Recouped. I was up till 2 in the morning though, editing the video for basically that I talked about the rum trends that are coming up. I thought that was super interesting. So I definitely wanted to get that content out. If you have not seen that video, it's on my YouTube channel. But let's start with the seminars on Friday. Anything that stuck out to you that you thought was interesting? Any preferred panel or any fun facts that you got from that?
Well, because I had a sidekick with me. I'll call him my sidekick in this case here. We got a little late start. We didn't get a chance to catch a couple of the early seminars, so I will definitely have to watch your videos because I definitely want to catch up on that. But I think we got there just a little after lunchtime. But what I did catch, I thought it was really interesting the history. You always love learn about the history of this, where all this stuff that we love comes from. And I thought it was interesting about a little bit about the debate. That they did about the bartenders, how they had a different approach. Finally, there was a little bit of discord, which again, that's what a debate's all about, on how they
Yeah.
had a little bit different take on certain cocktails. So I know I'm a little limited on that part of it. Again, we're working when we go to these events. How do we balance enjoying ourselves, taking it in, and working and covering these events too, right?
Yeah, and it's extremely hard. And what I was very, very surprised that I absolutely loved is you had a very wide range of people. You had people that were rum enthusiasts, rum lovers, people that were from other spirits that were there. And
Hmm.
you had all the way up to like the owners of the conglomerates. Like the big wig from Spirit Band was there, so it was really cool to interact with those people and hear their history and how they're involved with the company, which I thought was amazing. I honestly, this has only been probably my second big rum event, and I'm absolutely obsessed. Like now, I get the point why they do them in different cities. I definitely want to like check out the different events in different cities because I'm imagining they also bring in local rum companies that would be interesting to see. I definitely think we should go up to Chicago and crash the Chicago one and just hang out with the guys from Just Drinking, another part of the rum posse. So it'd be awesome to link up with them.
So perfect timing. Let's go ahead and let's put in the chats our Patreon and our Cash App links to support to watch. Have me and I cover firsthand our trips and travels there. So let's fund our shenanigans.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Speaking about history, Matt Petrick was also there. You had him on your podcast.
Hmm.
Incredible, incredible guest. He is known as the cocktail wonk slash the rum wonk. He just put out this 600-page, I call him the rum historian in my book, but he put out this amazing book. If you are a true lover of rum or you're interested in the history and like getting all nitty gritty with the details, definitely suggest buying this very heavy book, but it's incredible the amount of history and pages. And he travels throughout the world. And the pictures that he has on the book, they're literally from the libraries. And he has documents of like how Navy rum was done, how much was brought into, like, for example, the UK for the Navy, like actual documents from the library that I thought was so
Hmm.
incredible. So I got to meet Matt there too, which was really cool. He was basically hosting all the seminars. And then, did you go to any after parties after the seminars? I kind of had to head back home because I wasn't staying there. The hotels, by the way, very, very expensive to stay Friday night. So I
Hmm.
kind of came back. Did you enjoy also any of the welcome cocktails?
Uh, yeah, we did grab a couple of the cocktails. This is going to sound a little gross, or I don't know, but here I'm gonna be honest with you, transparent. Again, I told you I showed up late. When I walked into the back of the room in the seminar session, I saw some cocktails on the back table. I said, "Oh, okay, let me try one." And then I started looking around, like, I think these may have been discards that people just left
Oh,
there.
no.
So I'm not surprised. I'm surprised I may have not gotten COVID because I was drinking somebody else's leftovers. So, yeah, but so I didn't get the cocktails, but I did hit the Angostura bar that it set up. Again, that was kind of
Yeah,
cool. Where again, let's kind of back up a little bit. Maybe is like kind of give it like we're walking through is can people visualize when they watch your video, that you put together is yeah, you walked in the door of the hotel right in the lobby, you checked in, you hung a left, and then again, you had a couple of vendors there. You had Angostura again, huge name again. If you're not familiar, you probably know the name Angostura, but probably
from the
because of
bitters, right?
yeah, because yeah, again, right there you go. Like these little bottle again, this is a little sample, but again, Angostura, but they actually make rum too. And yep, there you go. And so they got to hang, you get in there and grab your cocktail. Again, what the beautiful part is, look,
I'll be right
these are
back. My dog is like crying to go out, but I can still
okay.
hear you.
Yeah, no, I'll keep them going. So what the great part is it's an event that look, you're going there to enjoy, you're going there to try new things, you're not going there to get hammered. We'll get into it here in a little bit about the tasting day, the second day, about some things like that. But again, you're there trying it, you got to pace yourself. But yeah, you walk in, you had an event, a couple of different there, giving you some samples. They even had some cigars again, which most people wouldn't think rum. Well, maybe yeah, I guess they would consider rum and cigars together. And but walked in and yeah, so to answer the question, I didn't get the original cocktails. I guess I maybe got the sloppy second welcome cocktails. But yeah, so it was really good. But it was really great sitting during the seminars where they did pass out a little bit of samples and some of the stuff which is amazing. And I think you probably feel the same way. Nia, Is your sample, you're tasting that right. You got your little sample glass. I know this is not what they gave us, but
This is
you're
what they
sitting.
gave us in case you're
Yes,
curious to know.
Nia, real quick about this glass here. This glass is really neat.
Yeah,
Yes,
it is.
it is really neat because that's
Yeah.
exactly what it's called. It's called neat. So,
Oh,
um,
really?
But I'm bummed. Yes, I'll be here all week. Then don't forget to tip your bartenders and waitresses, folks.
Sorry, I don't
And
have the cool sound effects you have.
oh,
Tutunch.
but yeah, but it was really great. Kind of like just when they passed out some samples, and you got a chance to just to sit and just take in the aroma without even drinking it. I think that's half of it, right? We all love to do is just you take it in and and just enjoy the aromatics of some of the stuff that they're passing out there. So, but yeah, so I'm sorry that was another long answer to a short question. But before we go back, Nia, we do have a question here. I want to answer. Rough Spirits has asked us.
For sure.
Okay, all right, he's hitting hard. Yeah, I think he's engaged. Yes, he's engaged here. What rum surprised you the most at the event? We'll start with that first question.
Well, rough spirits for me, and a little trick that I was given to by, I think Jamie from Ready Said Rum told me to always ask for what they have underneath the table. And let me
Mm,
tell you, they were not playing around during this rum congress. I have to say, of the stuff that you could see easily was 1824 from Angostura. I don't know if you tried that. They also had the 1919 there, which I have back here.
mm,
I haven't reviewed that one there, but let me tell you, the 1824, which I'm assuming is quite accessible, that was very impressive. That was right out at the bar when Angostura was doing the second part of the welcome cocktails. Um, El Dorado also had something underneath the table that we asked, and they were so secretive about it because apparently it's sold out all over the world. They just had a small sample of it that they didn't even let us take a picture of the sample bottle. Phil, let me
wow.
ask you if you, Phil, do you remember what that rum was from El Dorado? I want to see if he can answer. Um, the other thing is this rum is from Down Island Spirits. It's a
Yeah.
20-year-old Barbadian rum from
That.
Foursquare. This gentleman went down there, basically got this bottled, and we got a sample of this, which was really good too. 20-year-old rum, you can't go wrong from Barbados and Foursquare. It was mind blowing. Um, Also, this company, St. James, they do
Mm,
a lot of rum agricole. They had a bottle, and I'll post pictures of. I'm gonna try to post pictures on all social media so you guys can see of the rums that I tried. They had a rum agricole, and it was only part of the spirits that were distilled from the column, so it was all column still rum. That one was very impressive for me. It had a very incredible and unique back palate. It tasted like a white peppery note at the end,
hmm.
and I love spicy kind of hot rum, so I liked that a lot. I did try a couple of others that was a little bit disappointing. Worthy Park was also really good. That was accessible there. Spirit Bam with Clement had a bottle that was like a special release, like a barrel proof rum, which was amazing. I think those are probably my top. And then I was able to buy this bottle from Rompepon, which is from San Juan Artisan Distilleries, and
Mm,
he gifted me this one. So this one they actually make in house. If you're not familiar with them, you can't buy this from here, which is very interesting. And he brought to light that there's actually 8 distillers in Puerto Rico that don't get help from the federal excise
mm.
tax. So during the conferences and the seminar, he brought that to light, and I thought it was very interesting. So I wanted to support them, and he was kind enough to gift me the rest of this one, which basically during Hurricane Maria, his distillery got destroyed, and all of the other 7 distillers basically gave him juice, and then he bottled this in order to survive. So
Oh, that's
talk
cool.
about a comeback story, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah. People forget about kind of stuff like that that can definitely wipe out a business. And there was a very similar story I remember, and I know we're talking rum here, but like there was like a bourbon story too. Like one of the distilleries in in Tennessee had major, damage or whatever, and then the local bourbon companies kind of help that same thing, like provide what they can to, it's a community, it's brotherhood. They're not necessarily competing because you shouldn't be worried about what you're producing. If you think your stuff is the best, then you got nothing to worry about, right? But yeah, I didn't know that was the gentleman there. That was I remember him them bringing it up, and it kind of surprised the panel when he brought that up about the being the Caribbean funded or I think the word I forgot the word you mentioned there, but
It's
because like
it's
what
cover over. It's the cover over that they don't get the funds from the cover over apparently.
right, because 'cause they're not part of right, I think that's somebody said yeah, I think he corrected me because, yeah, just because we're in the Caribbean, we're not part of the Caribbean because we're part of the US. There's semantics maybe, but yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, that stuff that was under the table right there by the entrance there, that was, I think my favorite one. I was really surprised. I'm like, "Wow, that
Oh,
is
Down Island, like
yeah,
this
yep,
whole company.
yep,
Yeah,
yep." So,
I'll be right back. Letting the dogs
yep.
in. But
Yep.
go ahead.
So I think yeah, Mike Streeter is involved with that, and I know he's one of the members also of the Florida Rum Society. But yeah, he called me after the event there to ask me about it, and I said, yeah, I said that stuff is just kind of crazy, amazing. Again, I know those of you who are watching already know, maybe not, but rum isn't just all sugar and sweet and so forth. It is definitely a different. Uh, it's not sometimes maybe what people think, right? And then a good example, Nia, is we ran into a couple once they opened up the. I know we're jumping ahead a little bit, but the general session tasting on Saturday, there was a
Yeah.
couple girls that were there, and I asked them, said, "Well, what are you?" It's like, "Oh, I'm typically a whiskey drinker." I go, "Well, look, you're here, and you're gonna find stuff that you think is whiskey, and it's just gonna blow your mind because it's rum, or it's made from cane or sugar or molasses, etc." And you're gonna think it's whiskey because there's a lot of that too. So, but anyway, so yeah, so back to that was the question there. I know rough spirits. That was a long answer to your question there. So hey, Resurrection Inc. So thanks for tuning in there. Who else we got here? Rough spirits also had. We're gonna try to get. I was hanging out with BAMF Cigars in the event in Central Texas while his wife was at the Miami Rum Congress. Very
Oh
interesting
wow.
how
Okay.
that played out. Yeah. So, I to be rough spirits. I don't smoke cigars, um, but I've got other vices. So maybe I didn't kind of quite pay attention to the cigar aspect of things there. But I don't know. Nia, did you catch kind of some of that? Because you do you do partake right ever so often.
Yes, yes, I definitely enjoy cigars, but I was so hyper focused on the rum stuff that I also didn't know where we would be able to smoke the cigars, so I kind of just focused on the rum. I already have pretty good cigars at home and I'm pretty picky, so I just, let it be. But the other thing that I wanted to before I forget, Baco, this company, is
Hmm.
coming out with three expressions that blew our minds. I don't know if you tried them. They're basically ex bourbon. Um, it's drum finished in ex bourbon, but it's also finished in ex sherry, ex tequila, and ex cognac. And the price point for this bottle is gonna. They said for the new bottles because this is their typical bottle. For those expressions, they said it's going to be between 29 and 39. So talk
Ooh,
about affordability. Those
that's
were something
not
that I'm
bad.
definitely going to look out for in the shelves
Mhm.
because they're all over the place. They're in Total Wine and whatnot. If I find
Yeah.
it, I'm going to buy all three.
It's
Those
kind
are
of like
really, really good.
it's kind of like what I told the folks at Grander the same thing. I said, yeah, I've only seen one. I know because people are asking about what was available, and they do
Yeah,
have the Florida Rum Society pick. The one I really was digging was. I know we're kind of all over the place at the moment, folks. I know we're trying to answer some questions. We're trying to give a
yeah, for
recap
sure.
in chronological order. So hanging with us, we'll get there. We got ADHD and we're drinking rum. Um, But yeah, the grander folks, the one I was really digging was the agave aged. Yeah, I know. How'd you get a hat? I know why. You're a lot better looking than I do. I no, I that's I find a minute. That's how you get all that
Actually,
swag.
actually, it was Phil that got this hat. He
Oh,
still had access to his Instagram, and apparently, you had to go to like their Instagram and look at their story, and you had to show them the
mm,
Instagram story that they had
okay,
posted, and then you would get the hat. So
yeah.
I guess Phil is the best looking one of us.
Yeah, Phil's pretty dreamy, so happy Valentine's Day, Phil. So
Welcome, Steph. Welcome, Ken. Thank you so much for tuning in. Then, do you want to answer? Because Rough Spirits was also asking if there's a region or a go-to rum for us before we miss out on that question.
yeah, I would say that's a tough one, rough spirits, because I would think really that's just something that it's what's in the mood. Again, sometimes I really dig some of the agricoles because it's very floral. It's very like I'm talking about, very aromatic, and I'm like, this is just great. It's like an essential oil. Sorry, I'm laughing because Philip's comment there. Heart Philip, right? Um, but very. And then again, there's times depending on what we're making a cocktail. There's something that's or but hey, maybe wanted to take some things down a notch and want to feel a little bit, a little dirty, and just go with one of the big brands because it's cheap and easy. So yeah, I don't know. It's rough spirits. It's like tough. I've got kids. It's like tell me to say which kid is my favorite. I don't know. What about you, Nia?
I agree, and I'm the kind of rum enthusiast that doesn't discriminate. If you have good rum and it does have a little bit of additives, as long as you disclose it, I'm okay with it. Good rum
Hmm.
is good rum. In my books, I also am not shy to do stuff neat or on the rocks or on the cocktail. Same thing, it depends on the mood. Welcome, Sean. Thank you so much for tuning in. So happy to see you here. Like tonight, I would typically do this rum agricole probably with a little bit of ice,
Mm,
but because it's a Tuesday night and I wanted to ease into the drinking and into this week since we've had a pretty crazy weekend, I did do like a little old fashioned with a twist. I had a
nice.
friend do some very interesting cherry puree and I used that instead of the traditional simple syrup is what I did
Okay.
tonight.
Good. Yeah, in truth be told, when I got back home here in West Palm after on Sunday, it was just very similar to like last year. Last year, the event was supposed to take place the same weekend. If you don't know, Miami Rum Congress had pushed it out because it's still under some COVID stuff. They pushed it out to March. A lot of the people here in Florida have spring break at the same time with kids, so
Yeah.
they decided. A lot of folks decided, hey, we're just going to keep the event, and the Florida Rum Society picked up the ball and created an event out of nothing. And so anyway, my point being is it was also the same week in a Super Bowl, and I think the same thing happened this year. Was when I got home, I had no interest to drink it. It was a dry Super Bowl for me because it was like I've already done enough drinking,
Yeah.
for all weekend anyway. So let's just kind of yeah ease back into things. So
Trust me.
uh, for-
I get it.
so see so rough spirits. If you're gonna buy a bottle of Royal Cane at 224 a bottle, I think not only that you might just need to buy one, but I think you need to send Nia and I a little bit of taste there. So I'm just throwing it out there. If you're gonna put it out there, we wanna try some, right? Yes, the Down Island 20-year Four Squares of Pot Still Holmes K and the Royal Cane Company received the
Yeah,
same barrels from.
definitely.
Cool, cool, cool. All right, so
Yeah, I
uh,
definitely love pot still rums, but again, I don't discriminate. That's why I also even have a little pot still on my lanyard. Speaking of lanyard, I did wear my lanyard that I always wear during festivals because I put my Glencairn in here. But this year they were giving out a ton of pins. Did they give so many pins last year? This was crazy.
well, did you go to the event last year or the Florida Rum Society event?
I didn't go to either because we were
Okay.
traveling.
Oh,
I only went to the Miami Rum Renaissance Festival, which is the other big rum event here, but that one's hosted
mhm,
in Coral Gables
right,
and it's hosted by a completely different group.
right.
But I got some really cool pins. That are replicas of their bottles. So St. James was giving some, and Gestura was giving some
Mhm,
bottles. Don Gu also
mhm,
had some really cool expressions, by the way, some really cool cask finishes like port.
mm,
My favorite of Don
right.
Gu was the Zinfandel finished
Mm,
rum.
okay, I didn't
I
try that.
re-
Yeah.
I I really enjoy Zinfandel wine, so I wanted to taste that one. And then Yeah, 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 Sean. I love rum old fashions too. This time I usually make them smoky with my smoked up from Middleton. They are an amazing company. Absolutely love their product. But this time I just went with a traditional. Speaking of stuff that they were giving away when you checked in, there was a table. This
Hmm.
is the little bag they gave you. Inside the bag, they had a couple pens from the real. It's just called the real. They basically do stuff to add to your cocktails. They
Hmm.
had, apparently they're coming out with some cocktail app um called ABM Cocktail Pro. So they had a little, I would call it, it looks to me like a
Marker,
bookmark.
marker. Hmm.
Yeah, like a little marker. They had a thing for your lips from the real coconut, or I think I got the banana one. And then this glass, which I thought was really interesting because I recently broke my rum taster glass, and it kind of has, I imagine, the same concept to where the it opens up so the aromas can be perceived by your nose quite easily. It has a little etching on the bottom that says the Rum Lab, which is who organizes this incredible event.
Yep.
And once again, coming out with the pins from the same company, the Real, which is the one that gave away these little artifacts. Holmes
Man,
Key
you
was there.
you
I know Rough Spirits, you have this hat too, so I had to scoop one up. Now we can match. Maybe we can do a collab with the latest release from Holmes Key. That'd be awesome. They had a couple things I honestly don't remember. I know this is going to be horrible because I do love Holmes Key. We're really big fans. Um, but I can't remember what we tried. Phil, do you remember what we tried of the Holmes Key? I was at that point, I was trying to go live. I was trying to capture the area. I was trying to like capture everything that was going on, and I unfortunately kind of missed the Holmes Key section. I think I did try something, but I honestly I don't remember. I can tell you
mm,
probably my least favorite rums as well, which might
mm.
not be too nice.
Hold on, drum roll, please. Here comes the dramatic music.
Yeah. So Ron Centenario, who's from Costa Rica, had what they had is a rum there that said 50 years, which was very deceiving because obviously it wasn't a 50-year-old rum.
Mm,
The bottle looked like, I don't know if you're familiar with Dos Maderas.
hmm.
They have a 5 and 5 rum, a five and
Right.
three rum. They kind of do what Plantation does. They age it in the Caribbean and then bring it to Europe and finish it in Spain. And they do a lot of Solera style rums
Okay.
too. But this company, their higher end bottle is called Lexus, and it kind of had that same figure. It said 50 years, and at first I'm like, holy crap, 50 years, is it like a
Yeah.
50-year-old rum? And the
Right.
lady's like, no, it's from our anniversary, it's our 50th anniversary. So I thought that was kind of
Uh,
tricky.
yeah.
I did do the finger in the rum test. I don't know if you're familiar with that, to see if it has additives or coloring. Are you familiar with that test?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was cautiously somebody had told me about it is cautiously, and it was a little bit more than just the finger. It was basically pour a little bit in your hand and rub it together. And if your hands are sticky, then you knew there was obviously additives at it. And but if it wasn't, it'd be more like hand sanitizer, right? Where obviously it's just burnt, off.
Exactly. So
But I
it,
yeah.
they hadn't disclosed anything, which was a little bit sad, but I did that test and I literally, my fingers were so sticky and I felt like it was so deceiving. Kopali was there. I've tried their rum before. I really like their rum. But least favorite was that 50th anniversary from Ron
Mhm.
Centenario, which they're out of Costa Rica, and I think that was
Right.
it. Honestly, there was a lot of great, great rums. I don't
Yeah.
really have a lot of complaints.
Yeah, so again, then maybe we kind of rewind here for everybody who's watching, right, to kind of give the scope of it, right? So in the same area on Saturday, Friday, again, I've got my days mixed up, right? I forgot that we were actually there on Friday. We started off. But on Friday, you were in the one of the main rooms there at the Hilton Cabana. Again, this is in Miami at the Hilton Cabana. This is the second year they've done this at this hotel. And in one of the ballrooms there, they had the event, for the seminars. I think perfect size. And again, because you had a certain amount of people who were going on the Saturday event. Again, all the ticket prices depending on what you want. Do you want to go Saturday? Do you want to go Sunday? Do you want to go early on Sunday? Do you want to do some of the other events? I'll tell you a few things I didn't like here in a minute. Which I think it could have been probably communicated a little bit better. But the same ballroom there where they then and on Saturday when they had the tasting, they had that main area and then they had an area out back also. So it was weird. I don't know if it was just that maybe it was a last minute or they overbooked or how big things were because I always have heard in the past with the Miami Rum Renaissance Festival, which has been an event that's been around a lot longer than the Rum Congress, that the Miami Rum Renaissance Festival has been in places like the Broward County Convention Center. It used to be a much bigger event, and um, and so again, I would have to guess there was
So
at
sorry.
least probably 20 uh, booths or tables or grouping of the rum groups. I couldn't tell you actually how many rums were actually there, but at least there was 20 booths set up at the event, inside and then an outside area. And again, there was a lot of the bigger names you had. I think that was one thing I was really surprised. Don't know if it was just a matter of some companies were not sure how to enter or wanted to enter. I did not see this event. To me, it seemed like it was a little bit more higher name, higher brands for the enthusiasts than
Yeah,
maybe some of the
yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree.
I was just actually talking to a local brand here that's Florida based, and they were asking me about that. I said, to be honest, I don't remember seeing really any. And again, as I interview a lot of the brands here in Florida, a lot of the
Yeah,
rum companies that are trying to start up and so forth. I saw pretty much none of them, right?
yeah,
But I do have a funny Holmes K story. I know Rough Spirits was out. They said the Holmes K does a really good job. So here's the funny story, right? So I'm going into my third year, I guess maybe going into my fourth year, but I'll be hitting my third year anniversary of doing the podcast, the whole Drums and Rums podcast and extravaganza. And um, I walked over to the Holmes K table as they're getting ready to break down, and they're kind of wrapping up on Saturday. And Eric K says to me, and again, I'm like, I guess people, sometimes I don't realize people who recognize me or whatever. I'm not saying that I'm a celebrity by any means, but again, recognize. And he comes like, he goes, "Hey, when am I going to be on your podcast? I play the drums." And I'm like, I didn't know that.
oh, that's awesome.
I'm like, dude, I said, he kind of was like very like kind of like mad that I haven't had him on yet. I'm like, I didn't know that. I mean, again, there's a lots of.
That
I'm like,
is awesome. That would be a
so
great guest to have.
yeah, and I think you did actually. I think back to. I think you did tell me I need to have home skit, but I'm like, there's as as a content maker and for spirits and rums and so forth. There's so much about the scheduling. There's so much about
There
chasing people
is.
down. There's so much following up on
Yeah,
stuff. And there's so many rum companies. I tell people like, oh, have you tried this brand? And I'm like, I've heard of it. I said, but you know what? There's only so much money and so much rum and so little money. You got to kind of spend. Where am I spending my money on, right? So, but anyway,
yeah.
but yeah, so stay tuned. There will be a Holmes K episode, and then definitely
Oh,
you
that's
know it's going to be on the
exciting.
drums. Yes, so you got a sneak peek there. So I say Eric K is a post child for ethical rum. And that's the thing is, I think Rough Spirits. That's a great point that he says there in the chat about very ethical rum releases is there's a big movement, as most of you probably know, is the Rum Consumer Alliance, right? About transparency. I think
Absolutely.
there's a lot that are moving in that direction to try to be very open about what they're producing, let people know. And you know what? It's kind of like in a way, it's going to force other companies to share what they're doing. It's almost like you're forcing this to happen that you're going to challenge the other companies to do it because then it's going to become like an accepted thing that people like, want know about. So, but yeah, so I mean, very great for that. And but anyway, so you heard a little bit about that. So, okay, so man, rough spirits are moving over to Ron Gubiner, 12 year man. Yeah, he's doing it up tonight. Bourbon like rum still
Yeah,
has
I haven't
man.
I haven't tried Ron Gobernador Telvier. Where are they from? I thought they were there. There was also a rum called Marquesas that were there. Like it was
Hmm,
the like a marquee rum, and it looked like a guy dressed in like old I don't know, like an old outfit. I didn't try that one either. And they didn't
right.
have a booth, but they had a little bit of presence. The other thing that I didn't like, so this property, we stayed on property, Paul. And
Hmm,
listen, you and I know how Miami prices are, but for the night, it was like with the discount for the Miami Rum Congress, it was still $400 a night, which to me is a lot of money. And when we
right.
checked in, honestly, the room was quite disappointing.
Mm,
Sunday morning we got up early because we wanted to enjoy a little bit of the pool and a little bit of the beach and a little bit of the property, because obviously Saturday, you saw how late we got there at like 2,
right.
which was
Right.
ready for the VIP and ready to go and like try stuff and like record
Damn,
stuff. And
damn you, I-95 traffic.
I know. But like we went to the bar and we wanted to grab some crap. What are they called? With the tomato juice sauce in the morning.
Oh, Bloody Marys?
Yes, Bloody Marys. Oh my God, Paul. We had two Bloody Marys, and it was $41. And
What?
I'm telling you, they could not be bigger than this glass.
So Nia, I'll have to tell you, here's a couple of my secrets here. Here's what Paul did, right? Now, the Miami Rum Renaissance Festival, as we talked about back in November. Okay, so again, y'all, these are tips here. And by the way, Nia, I know you're asking Philip questions. Yeah, I saw in the chat there. He's 20-second delay there. So when you
I
ask him
know,
questions,
I saw.
so you say the answer Bloody Mary. But so I went to Miami Rum Renaissance, and again, I went down there for by myself. And again, I live in West Palm. Again, Nia lives close by. Again, but you're gonna be drinking all day. You want to be, smart, right? And I said I'm gonna stay, and there was many places in my like a lot. Close do I want to stay to the event or with location versus travel and money and so forth, right?
Right.
Like Nia, right?
And
Support
safety
our
too, because you know you're gonna be drinking, so it's like
right, right. So
might as well stay.
like Nia and I, again, if you like what we do, definitely, support the, a Patreon or Cash App or whatever. If you want the content, again, a lot of this is thankfully we have decent day jobs to help us fund our fun. And again, shameless plug. But yeah, I had stayed at a place across the street from the Miami Rum Renaissance event where it was at in Coral Gables there. And I stayed there last year, and it wasn't bad. It's older, and again, you got to think about Miami, and again, Miami is an older town, and so forth. Stayed there and hung out, and it was okay because I stayed there just the one night. Now I said, "Oh, I'll just stay there again this year." Stayed there. I checked in late. They punted me over to the overflow building, and it was like, "Holy shit! This is the fucking most craziest." I was very disappointed, but at the same time, I'm like, "It's Friday night in Miami. What am I gonna do?" And here's what
Yeah.
I'm paying for. Nia, the air conditioning in this room again for last November. There was a gap in the wall where the wall unit was. I could see the
No.
outside. I could see the
No.
outside. And it was one of those, I'm like, "This is the most skeeviest fucking room I've been in," but I'm
Oh
like,
my
same
God.
time, luckily, it was by myself. It's like one of those, if I was with my wife, I know she would have not had any of this. Charlene would have been like, "Nope, we're done. Out of here. Go find somewhere else or sleep in my truck." But anyway, so similarly, so Paul's tip was this year, again, trying to keep the cost, right, because it's all self-funded, is
Yeah.
I would have loved to stay at the Hilton. Sometimes you do miss out if you don't stay at the event, location, like a lot of conventions, right? Or you do. I looked up an Airbnb and found an Airbnb for $120,
That's
two
crazy.
building, two buildings over at
So you
the
walked over to the event anyway.
exactly, and that's what I did
That's
back
great.
in. I did last year the same thing. I stayed at a place probably like a few blocks up. It made me walk a little further, for cheaper and whatever. But yeah, I'm like $120. It was somebody's Airbnb condo. It had a fridge, it had a kitchenette, and looked towards the ocean. It had the pool and all. I'm like, this is fine for what all I'm looking for. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time in the room. And the other key part is to me is about saving your money. About where I was going with this whole Bloody Mary was if you hang out with a somebody who owns a spirits distributor company, of course you're going to bring your own booze, and then you don't need to drink as much because yeah, you BYOB, right? So,
Yep.
so I don't know. So I know I went all over the place there. I know Rough Spirits is there. He said Cartagena in Colombia is, I guess, where the Ron Gubiner 12-year was,
Okay.
I guess, made. Same city as Dictator. I paid $22 for an old fashioned on the Disney.
That
Yeah, I
makes
know.
sense because it's Disney. I feel you, but I bet you it was an amazing old fashioned. These Bloody
Right.
Marys, they didn't even put ice in our Bloody Marys.
Yeah.
It
So
was
Phil,
no ice. It was just the juice, the vodka, and a
wow.
little wedge of lemon,
I
and that
would
was it.
I would have to ask you offline. I'm sure probably can tell which bartender was there making those drinks because there was a particular bartender there I didn't really care for.
Oh no.
Yeah, so same thing is you're right. Is Philip said there in the chat? How do you know you're in Miami? $21 Bloody Mary, and yeah, that's the problem, right? $35 for parking each night at your hotel, resort, etc. It is not cheap. Again, if you save your pennies and so forth, go through.
Yeah,
But
definitely next year I want to see if we can get an Airbnb or something because I did enjoy staying down there because you don't
mhm,
miss out on a lot of stuff. And
yeah,
like for
yeah.
example, speaking of the crowded space in the grand tasting room,
Mhm.
the air was not working.
Oh, it was hot as hell. Oh my
The
god.
air was not working. I'm gonna tell you that in the middle of the grand tasting, I had to go upstairs and freshen up and change because I was drenched.
Mm,
And it wasn't a particularly hot weekend, but the
right. Yeah.
between the amount of people and the lack of air,
Right.
it was so hot in there.
Yeah. And speaking of the grand tasting again, to kind of give folks
Yeah,
the idea was Saturday. Again, this was Saturday. Again, there was three different tiers for entrance into the grand tasting. If you had a VIP ticket, pass ticket, whatever, it was like 2 to 7, right? 2 to 6, 2 to 7.
yeah. It was two
It,
hours earlier. If you got
right.
a general, then it started at 4 to 7.
Right, and then if you were part of the industry, there were some industry passes as well for those. And again, I don't know, did you run into a lot of people that were there, spirits companies, that weren't, uh, presenting or had anything, but they were just kinda there attending and,
Yes,
scoping things out? Mhm.
I
Yeah,
did.
okay.
I bumped into a guy from 10 to 1. Not that I knew him, but I knew
Mhm.
the logo of 10 to 1. And he was there the day of the seminars. I think Revenge Rum out of West Palm Beach, they were there attending the seminars. I think there is a lot of companies that were there on Friday, like a lot of distillers. There was also
Mm,
this incredible lady. Her name is I think Catherine. She was from a brand new distiller or a new distiller to us in the US because they don't sell their rum here. I think the rum is called Mandinga. They're out of Panama. I
mm,
met her. Super nice lady. So I think Friday was mainly the people checking out stuff, and Saturday. I'm sorry, was more people checking out the rums and stuff. To answer Rough Spirits questions, no, Foursquare was not there. Mount Gay was not there. Of the big guys, which I thought was really interesting.
yeah,
But
Plantation was representing Barbados, right, yeah.
yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure.
So
Um,
Panama rum, yeah, there was yeah, I mean, Grander, right, and, one that was there that was, Parse. I've seen them the last couple of years at the Miami Rum Renaissance Festival, and, the owner was there, and alright, I'm gonna probably say very something. I don't mean to be kind of like, kinda come off sounding gringo-ish or kind of whatever you wanna call discriminated
too
or I
late.
don't know. Yeah, do what politically incorrect. So there was, I guess, who they introduced was the owner was there at Parse, the table, and he was a white guy. He was looked like me, and this is supposed to be a Colombian rum, and all of the stuff behind it. And I was like, "Okay." And I told him after we're chatting a little bit, and a couple of the other folks from the Florida Rum Society, Joe and Missy, the rum travelers were there. We're sitting all the table, a couple of folks, Don, Tucker, again, a lot of Florida Rum Society folks there. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And so I said to to him, to the owner, I said, "You know what?" I said, "Love the fact that you're here at the booth. Look, don't get me wrong. Again, I'm a guy. I love the booth babes, right? Again, it's nothing wrong with that, drinking rum and looking at, something, something of interest. Uh, but you know what? When you ask them a question, they can't answer the questions for the rum nerds like us who want to go a little further into just give me some free booze."
Right.
I said, "So don't get me wrong." I said, I'm glad that you're here because people can have a real deeper conversation and understand your product and for you because you're the owner and you're the only one who's really going to be able to really have the heart and to sell it and put it out there. Whereas somebody who might have a couple bullet points to talk about a product, maybe the sales manager is there, the regional manager, etc.
Yeah.
But there was there was, I don't know, and I'm sure you were not probably paying attention to this, Nia. I totally understand. Maybe Philip was. He'll have to listen to this. He'll have to listen to this 20 seconds later. Is there wasn't as many booth babes. Okay, Silver Ray had some. I did tell them, Nia. I did tell them. I said, take my card. I said, look. I said, I do a podcast. It's about rum and music and drums. I said, can you talk to Bruno Mars? Can you hook him up? Can you have him come on the podcast? I'm all about exactly what he's doing, rum and music. Come on. So it's like, well, it's a little bit above my pay grade, but
Yeah.
we'll pass it pass it along.
Oh, you're so funny. You are so funny.
So,
Um, to me, yes, obviously, I think that Silver Ray had a fun booth, but
mhm,
I personally am not a big fan of the rum at all. But there was a couple of other people that were there that were bartenders too, making some really nice
mhm,
cocktails. Like Spirit Bams had some tea punches, which were really good. Outside Kapali had also some tea punches. And then speaking of grandeur, rough spirits, I absolutely fell in love with them because I found out they're only like a handful of people on that team. I don't think they're an actual rum producer. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they just source the juice and bottle it, right?
mhm. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
So I
So,
think
but
so. I think
because
as
they're
far as like presence, I think.
right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but I think we're talking more about like actual producers. And speaking of Parse, I absolutely love Parse. Their rum is phenomenal, phenomenal.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and it's great. And again, there's like I said earlier, right? People say, "Hey, have you tried this? Have you tried this?" Like, look, there's so much rum, so little money, right? And there's so much. And again, this is the crazy part of going to an event like this. Everyone's competing for your dollar. And so yeah, impress me. Find a way to take my money. And again, 50% of the rum market is really controlled by two brands. And I'll let you kind of all in the chat there kind of tell me who you think those two brands are. And it's
Yeah.
probably pretty easy for you to figure that out. But yeah, yeah. So tasting again, I think you talk about some of the after parties. I know there was what I was really surprised that there wasn't more after parties on location at the hotel. That was one thing I was hoping for was to
At
talk a
least
little bit.
not advertised. And my thing is
Yeah,
that with having such great rum bars down in Miami, they didn't diversify. Everything that they did was at Exotico, and you know how I feel about that place. It's very, very expensive.
yeah, right,
Um,
yeah, for sure. And that's something that I think there was Saturday night. A lot of people were heading down as Zydeco or Broken Shaker. That was another place. A lot of people from the
Oh, I
local.
didn't hear that because I literally went to Fede who organized this event and I was like,
Mhm,
hey, we're done drinking. We're ready to like party. Where should we go?
right,
And he's like, well, go to Exotico. They're doing like a rum and cigar pairing and blah, blah, blah. But
right,
when I was there, I never saw anybody smoking cigars. So I'm like, where are they going to smoke all these cigars that they have this
right,
company coming with?
right.
Um, so
Yeah,
I don't know. I
I
wish they diversified, but the only thing I can tell you is Phil and I went to dinner and I was pretty tired after dinner from the long week that I had. When we got back to the hotel, apparently where they had the welcome drinks for the seminars, they were throwing some kind of party in there because when Fede saw us coming back, he was like, "Oh, you guys want to come? There's still rum left." But by that point, I was like ready to just go to bed and crash. So it wasn't technically a party, but I think everybody was there just hanging out. So I don't
Yeah.
know. It would be fun if they did more after parties. I don't know if you're familiar, but there's a group of Latin American rum collectors. They're called Unidos por el Ron,
Mm,
which means United for Rum.
mm,
They were all there. Super cool guys. One of them is actually a really good acquaintance of mine, Capitan Ron, Captain Rum. He's from Ecuador as well, but they were there and they had gone to Café La Trova. They went to Swizzle Bar. They went to a couple all together as a group. So I thought that was interesting too.
that's cool.
Sometimes you got to end up like connecting with other people.
Yeah.
Speaking of connections, I was very, very impressed on how nice everybody was. There wasn't a single person that was exhibiting or there basically repping a brand that was not extremely nice.
Mhm.
I was super impressed. Like I know you and I had already attended the happy hour with FRS for Black Todd, which was
Yep.
incredible. When I approached Mitch, Mitch was so charismatic.
Yeah. Mitch is
He was
Mitch is
so
awesome.
super awesome, awesome. All the people there, the people from Clermont too were really nice. The people from Grandeur were super nice too. I think it was like a husband and wife team that
Hmm.
were there repping the brand, which I thought was
Yeah.
really cool. And Phil is a huge fan of Grandeur, by the way. That's why, like, he is a big fan. He's a Scotch guy, so when he sees these types of rums that are very very attuned to his palate. He's a big fan and is very loyal. So he went to Holmes Key and Grandeur and picked their brains for like a couple minutes there. Kind of annoying them, I feel like, but they were super, super nice, answered a ton of questions, which I
Right.
thought was really interesting.
It's tough, right? You know, you've probably in your day life is job where I've done some expos and conventions and things like that, and you're trying to pitch, you try to get, and again, you may have that one again that what you have is like we talked about on Saturday was you had the initial session for people to get in early, and then once they open up to the larger audience, and then all of a sudden it did get real busy when the general tasting opened up, right? And again,
Yeah,
look, you're putting on an event. You want people. There's money that needs to be made. Everyone's trying to make some money. You got to pay all these things. So you want to put it out to the general public for those that are going to show up to an event. I've seen it here in some of the working with the House of Wine and Beer and Spirits. Mario from the distributor there.
yeah.
You know they
You've been attending a ton of their events. You can give us some insight on how much work that is.
Yeah. So, again, I partner with them on stuff. I don't work directly for them. Again, doing some of their social media, some of their live streams, etc. Again, they have brands that they have, help them kind of promote, and smaller brands. They are a smaller distributor,
Yeah,
and I think a lot of folks that were walking around during the event who were a good example is we've seen them at the Miami Rum Renaissance Festival is Lion. A striped,
Striped Lion.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, they're
those are
based out
great,
of New
right?
Jersey.
Yep, great couple, great all that, and
Yeah,
then an opportunity to talk to them and do they have distributorship, and again, there's a lot of the things that people don't understand is how difficult. There's a piece of this puzzle here. It's called the distribution, and if
yeah,
you're going to go start up a company and you want to start a rum brand or a spirits brand, you better figure out how you're going to get it distributed because most likely you're not going to have the capital to be able to start it up, sell your product at the distillery because that's a huge a lot of money to start your own distillery. So most people starting out, they're going to contract distill, and then now how do you move your product? You have to have a distributor. You have to have somebody who hopefully sales, and so it's a tough thing. But yeah, back to your thing about the events. Um, yeah, there's a lot of work to try to get your name out there, get the brand, and a good example is we met at the Rum Renaissance. Is Mark from Coco Rum, Coco Vodka, right?
Yes.
Same thing. You know, they're grinding, they're grinding, they're grinding, and then sometimes
And
they're
they
just
have a
able.
phenomenal product. I don't
I
like
know.
seltzers, but their rum with coconut
Yep.
water seltzer is amazing.
Yeah, right, and it's not crazy carbonation. Yeah, it's 5.5%. But there's a case in point. They were able to hook up, make a connection, and these are some things as you start to have a company like this. How much you will, like it's a whole Shark Tank thing. How much are you willing to give up to be
Yeah,
able to take it farther? Do you want to zero of like nothing, or do you take a percentage to give somebody to grow further? And they're partnering with Dead Mouse, right? Again, huge DJ, huge music guy. Again, he's going to be able to help move their product even further because they gave
hopefully.
maybe, I'm sure, some sort of level of a cut into the company. But yeah, super great, super great. He was actually in town. We just never got a chance to make him hook up on this weekend because Saturday once we left. So I know we left you guys and we were trying to figure out food and meals and so forth. We just kind of took the short, cheap route. And we went across the street to the little taqueria place across the street from our place. We're like, hey, $10 for a hamburger from the little window. We're like, all right, again, we're trying to do this on a budget and not get crazy. Because
Yeah.
I would have loved to gone down to Essequibo and hung out with everybody. I would have probably spent a shit ton of money. Cool place, or Broken Shaker. Again, would have definitely spent more money than I probably, should have been spending at the time. That's I think the big thing is if you're gonna go to these events, make sure you're some of us here and take some of these tips, kind of things how you want to spend if you got the money. And again, you could do it on a budget. You kind of keep it, easy, cheap and easy. But I don't know.
Any other questions? I think before we head out, I think we pretty much covered everything as far as I know. Very excited that I was able to get these bottles. Very excited to attend next year, and hopefully, maybe we can make it up to Chicago. That would be awesome because I'd love to see if we go to the Midwest, what kind of vendors they're gonna have. I think
Yeah,
that'll be very interesting.
right. I would love to like go to the some of the other. There's one coming up in May, I think, early May. It's in Puerto Rico. Just saying.
Well,
Just
May's
saying.
gonna be too soon. Because I'm heading up to Michigan again in April, but I am heading to Jamaica with the Romalier crew in November. So
I
definitely
I'm so
subscribe to
I
my
listen. I
channel.
listen. I'm so jealous, right? That's the benefits of Nia of not having kids, right? Is that especially paying
Choices,
cars.
man. Choices.
Oh my god. So yeah, but yeah, it's some of these events. Again, there's one. The Rum Travelers have an event coming up, and seeing kits. If anyone's interested in checking that out, that seems like it could be a great intimate event there, tours and things, and all that. So again, if you're interested in that, definitely check them. Again, we want to give them a shout. Joe and Missy, they're super great. And a lot of great people. Again, part of this, our local. I think the Florida Rum Society is actually one of the largest rum groups. I think either in the country or actually in the world. I mean, we're the Florida Rum Society's got a pretty large hold on members and people that are involved. So again, if you guys are all in the chat, they're listening to this, watching this, yeah, join the Florida Rum Society. They're I don't want to say they have a lot of power, but I think if you understand what I mean by they have a lot of ability to get certain things because they're partnering with distilleries, privateer or certain barrel picks. And, if you're really into that, and again, I would love to be into a lot of that, but again, it's this.
Yeah, and the other great thing about them is yes, they have a lot of events that you have to go in person up north, but you also have other events that they do virtual, like what I talked about, the Black Top Happy Hour. That
Mhm.
was just us doing virtual, and we got samples shipped of the deconstruction of the latest rum that they were releasing. We got it to our house, and then we just shared rum and talked about the rum that they were releasing virtually, which was so incredible.
Right. I do think so. One thing that again I give some feedback on is, um, So what, as I mentioned, there was a lot of little bit of, I don't want to call it nickel and diming. Again, understanding what certain parts are, and this is where I missed out initially on. There was a private event that was put on by the Florida Rum Society
Yeah.
that I guess was actually labeled on the website, and maybe I wasn't paying attention, engaged, and so forth, and whatever. And then when I did see a post about it and inquired about it, then it was commented that it was already max capacity, and it really, as Fetty said, it wasn't part of the event for the weekend. It was kind of like its own little private party
It was.
that they just happened to host it in an open area, which I guess I don't know if it was. I think it was free event, but I think there was a certain amount because, as he explained it, there was a food thing to it, right? They didn't want
Oh, that makes sense.
right,
But
so it was
Paul, another really cool event that I don't know. I'm not a big tiki person, but I crashed the Huki Lao last year. I don't know if it might be interesting for you coming up in June.
mhm,
And they had a lot of rum brands there. They had Kirk and Sweeney, they had Plantation, they had a couple of like really big brands and really good brands. And that was a whole weekend here in Pompano. So you and I will probably connect after the fact,
yeah,
after
yeah,
this, and see if maybe you want to join that too, because that I'm definitely going to go back again. It was an incredible event. They had not only pool parties during the day, they have live bands at night, and then they had after hours parties where basically each rum brand hosted a mini
pop
party
up
in
like a
these
little pop
hospitality rooms.
like a pop up thing,
Yeah, kind of like a pop-up thing, but like a pop-up thing on steroids because they decorated rooms in different ways.
right,
So like for example, Kirk and Sweeney, since they're very nautical themed, they had a old school submarine. They had a lot of like hanging puffer fish, like crazy stuff like that. Like I'm telling you, like a whole nother level.
right.
Because you know these tiki people are also really good rum drinkers
Mhm.
and really good cocktail drinkers. So that might be something if you're also interested in the whole tiki scene. That was very cool last year that I'm probably going to attend this year as well.
Yeah, I'd be interested in that because I know the Hooky Lao, that's a big thing that they've been talking about, and the renovation of all that. Yeah, I'm always interested. Yeah, I'm always down for a good time, right? I'm not really necessarily a hardcore tiki person.
Yeah, me neither.
I did get a lot of recognition for my nice tiki shirt that I wore on Sunday. I did because again I did acquire or purchase a nice tiki shirt last year for the event that I went to in Austin for Rock Sound Rum, where they broke the large daiquiri contest. I got invited to go out there to be part of that event. This was crazy. So this was an event that they had partnered with Chive TV, and I don't know if everybody remembers Chive TV is like in the sports bars at Duffy's here
Yeah.
in Florida, where Chive TV's it was like all the crazy videos that people posted. Right, it was basically before TikTok and social media, where people used to post videos of crazy shit that goes on, but it was at the Chive TV headquarters, and which was really cool. So, but anyway, so of course it was a luau tiki event, daiquiri event, whatever. And I had bought my shirt here at a place, and I tagged you in. It's called Pleasure Tiki. So big shout out to Pleasure Tiki. That's here up here in Tequesta, and just near Jupiter. And they had a pretty cool thing that I tagged you in was like some type of pirate uh, paraphernalia. I don't remember exactly what it was now, but yeah, to take a look. I did tag you on their post to take a look at something that they had
Okay.
for sale. But yeah, this
Awesome.
cool. It's a cool little place. The Pleasure Tiki again. It's a mom and pop shop. They're involved in the tiki community, and like I said, I'm not a hardcore tiki person. I'm just kind of a person of the world, I guess. I enjoy a good time, drink some rum, have a good time, music,
Yeah, good
right?
cocktail, good people, and great rum, man. That's all I can say.
That's
But
right. Yeah,
Paul,
big shout out to Nia's. Right. Yeah, that's right, Philip. Right. Nia's pirate hat was very popular. Right. That's right. She was cutting through the crowds of that hat.
it was fun, and I actually met a couple of crew members down there, Captain Wolf and Captain Jack, that were so
Yes,
nice to come up to me, and they were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you're going full pirate!" I was like, "Well, I'm gonna wear the hat, so you'll see me tomorrow, but you might see us dress up next year at the Miami Rum Congress full pirate."
that's right. Yeah.
That's what they
So
said they want to do, so we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny, Captain Jack. He was there, and I met him last year at the event that, like I said, they had last year at the hotel there, where the Florida Rum Society took over, and we got to talking. And after I went on a cruise with the Margaritaville ship in January, there was a Pirates and Parrot Heads cruise ship on the Margaritaville ship in West Palm. And
Yeah.
after we got off the ship, I saw him posting stuff. I'm like, Greg, you were on that ship. How did I miss you? Again, it's like we've talked in the past with other members of the Rum Posse, where it's like we know you're there, but we somehow don't cross paths, right? So, but anyway, it was fun. So it was good seeing a lot of people. As I said, great catching up with old friends, making new
New
ones.
friends, a lot of
Yeah,
new friends.
yeah.
It
And
was
for
great.
and right for me, it was great actually meeting in person a lot of people that I've had on the pod, like meeting Mitch in person,
Yes.
Matt in person, and a lot of great people actually to meet them in person and kind of talk to them a little bit about, yeah. So, but yeah, I had a great time. Definitely do it again. So all right, so yes, all right. So let's see what we got here. I'm sure these two would be okay. Hold on, we're backing up here. I'm reading the kid. Rogue Spirits, thanks for going live tonight. We need more people going live talking. I feel weird going live by myself. I totally understand that, Rogue Spirits. When I do my
Yeah, me
happy hour
too.
show,
And let us know. We're always down to collab, you know. We're always
we
down
hey
to
look,
collab.
we've been talking about this for a long time with others in the Rum Posse trying to do some of this. I think Nia, we should just do. Let's maybe just start thinking about. Let's kind of put this on the radar. We do a little live thing like this. Um, I don't know. Let's figure it out. We'll figure it out. So Rough Spirits, stay tuned. Follow. Obviously, if you're all in the chat, you probably already are following Nia. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button on this video. Follow me. I'll shameless plug myself to make sure you follow us too on Drums and Rums, and all those things. So yeah, I think we need to do this a little bit more, yeah. So we'll have to talk offline and try to maybe do something a little bit more. Look, we're not got a script. We just have something to kick around, and we can bounce off there, read the chats, read the comments, and I think that's maybe something we got to do. So
Yeah, for sure. And
yeah,
and I look forward to collabing with Rough Spirits. It was again amazing meeting all the people, all the crew members, all the people that were there. Not only the brands, but people like us. I also met the Rum Raiders, which were very cool couple. They also do reviews
mm,
online. Seeing Jami from Ready Said Rum. So make sure you follow all of the Rum Posse. Paul, subscribe to his channel, to his podcast. But thank you everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. I hope to see you all next year and we can party. Maybe we can do our own little side party. Who knows? Who knows?
who knows? I put the bug in Fetty's ear. The next year, I was trying. Of course, I came up with the idea a little bit too late. I put the bug in his ear. I'm gonna have to keep reminding him. I says, Fetty, I have all of my equipment in my truck. I can set up and do a live stream right now.
From the beach, right? You were talking about that. I'm so down.
Yeah.
That
Now
would be amazing.
I know they did have the couple that was up there at the registration table that they have, like, I guess, a daily morning show they did Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They were broadcasting some event there, and again, it's not for me because actually, hold on, I do have the brochure. The name of the show is called Bien Dia Miami. So again,
Okay.
I don't speak Spanish, so I assume that means good day Miami, right?
Yes. Yes.
Uh, podcast morning show.
Oh,
Again,
look at you.
I did grab a brochure, right? Of course, maybe this is what I need on my show. I need somebody that looks like this to kind of co-host with me. Obviously, I need eye candy. Uh, so, so I don't know. Anyway, we're getting crazy here. So, but all right.
But
So,
anyway, thanks for tuning in.
yep.
Thank
Thank you
you,
guys.
Sean, as always, for tuning in. Cheers. And I look forward to the next rum and our next live.
Cheers, all. Have a great night.